How's it, everybody? Last minute tips for your tourism paper. So let's go through it. Question 1 is going to be your short questions covering all topics. So in other words, question 1 is going to be about questions 2 all the way to 10, all the key major topics. Question 2, map work and tour planning. These are two separate questions. So as you'll see in a lot of the YouTube videos, I've divided them up. So question 2 has two parts. Map work, if you're in Singapore and you're flying to Melbourne, and then you've got a layover there, what time are you going to arrive in Johannesburg? Something like that. And just general tour planning, route planning, compiling a day-by-day itinerary, perhaps even a tour budget, health and safety, travel documentation, anything along those lines. Then we get to foreign exchange. Foreign exchange, having an understanding of BBR, so the bank buying rate, versus the BSR, the bank selling rate. Remember, that is how the bank makes its money. The selling rate is always going to be higher than the bank buying rate. If not, then, well, the bank is actually making a loss. So yeah, just know some basic currency conversions. You don't have to go into Google and memorize, okay, the USD today is this, the GBP is this today, but just the basic calculations, okay? So go through some nice textbook examples and the overall fluctuation of that currency. Next, we get to tourism attractions. And regarding tourism attractions, there are many. Okay, so what I'd recommend is just going into your grade 12 exam guidelines, which is asking your teacher, which ones should I learn? Like, for example, in some of the more recent papers, like 2023, there was Peru, Poland, Portugal, Spain, and Thailand, everything that goes along those lines. So in Peru, Machu Picchu; in Poland, Auschwitz; in Portugal, the Algarve; in Thailand, the floating markets. But for example, if you look at a 2021 paper, in 2021, there's Brazil, Canada, Italy, and Egypt. So in Brazil, it's Christ the Redeemer. In Canada, it's Niagara Falls. In Italy, it's the Colosseum. Venice, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. In Egypt, it's the Great Pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx. So yeah, it really just depends on your year, depending on when you're watching this video. Then we get to cultural heritage and tourism. Cultural and heritage tourism. So just using the latest information. Learners, they must be able to give a description of all World Heritage sites, definitely in South Africa, and know the locations on the map of South Africa and how they meet UNESCO's criteria, and just know what UNESCO is. Okay, in terms of marketing, so simply put, marketing South Africa as a tourism destination, or SA tourism, so South African tourism's role in marketing South Africa. And just familiarize yourself with brand imaging, core business, funding for marketing purposes, and so on and so on. In terms of the tourism sectors, right? So there are two questions here: professional image in the tourism industry, conditions of employment, and the purpose and value of a code of conduct. So it's not too heavy, right? Just understanding the three pillars of sustainable tourism, so triple bottom line, CSI, CSR. So if you do business, you can use some of your businessy knowledge here as well. In question 8, we've got sustainable and responsible tourism. And this is where triple bottom line comes into being, right? Look, you can use triple bottom line understanding in tourism sectors, but you're not going to get it there. So the whole social, economic, and environmental part of it, that's going to go under sustainable and responsible tourism, right? That's a lot more hardcore. That's where triple bottom line comes into being. But that being said, triple bottom line, if you really think about it, those aspects, that background knowledge, it applies to a lot of the other sections here as well, like the code of conduct in tourism sectors. Okay, question 9, domestic, regional, and international tourism. So you can expect questions here on global events that have international significance, political situations and unforeseen occurrences, forms of payment when traveling internationally, foreign market share, and statistics regarding inbound international tourism. We've done a lot of questions like that on the channel. Feel free to check it out. So that's domestic, regional, and international tourism. And question 10 is communication and customer care. So with question 10, you can expect questions here on methods to obtain customer feedback and to measure customer satisfaction. This is a very, very small question, is question 10. And that's pretty much everything that's going to be in your paper. Remember, for most students, I believe, it is a slightly trickier paper to finish because there's a lot of writing, there's a lot of theory, there's just a lot of thinking that you need to do, and just keep your eye on the clock at all times. Please be guided by the mark allocations. Don't write me a paragraph for a 2-mark question. If it's an 8-marker, yes, by all means, go to town. Remember, if it's a 6-mark question, perhaps they're asking for 3 points and 3 explanations, so 3 times 2. Yeah, just it's very similar to an allo paper or even a business paper. Always be guided by the mark allocations. Don't write too much, don't write too little. These mark allocations are going to save you here. So start with question 1, and then I believe you should be doing all the questions that you feel most confident with. So everyone, start with question 1, get some nice mahala, some free marks in. Look, if you battle with map work and you just absolutely hate it, perhaps don't start with it, right? You want a confidence boost when you start the paper. So definitely question 1 and then some other questions that you feel a lot more comfortable with. You don't have to do this paper in order. Okay, all the best for your paper, guys. Good luck.